What's happening around the world
and what's happening here at home. A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Rochelle Pramodara.
and I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Sajid Premadasa places deposit for presidential election. Police deployment agreement reached for the presidential election. 116 ex-provincial UNP and SLPP members support Ranil. SLFP Central Committee meets to decide on presidential poll. Scores of Chinese nationals busted in Kalpitia on suspicion of committing cyber crimes.
Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka decides.
Sri Lanka decides.
The deposit on behalf of Sajid Premadasa, the presidential candidate of the Samagi Jana Bala Vegya for the upcoming presidential election, was placed this morning.
The deposit on behalf of Sajid Premadasa, the presidential candidate of the Samagi Jana Bala Vegya, was placed by the General Secretary of the SJB, MP Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, and a group of MPs along with President's Counsel Thisat Vijayagunawardana. These parties supporting the SJB alliance, including Professor G.L. Piris and Professor Charitha Herath, were also present.
We are creating a country and a future where the youth can live without problems. For that, all the people of the country are united with Sajid Premadasa and are giving strength to this struggle. Also, a large group of leaders who can engage in governing the country are gathered around him. Sajid Premadasa will be appointed the president of this country on the 21st of September.
They are talking
about 92 from the SLPP supporting the president like it is a big deal. I'd like to clearly remind that the president was not appointed by the majority of the 225 members of the parliament. Therefore, there is a problem whether the people will support just because the MPs have gone in that direction. Secondly, the people who raised their hands in support of Keheliya Rambukwella, claiming that he did not steal and that he did not kill people by bringing down inferior medicine when we brought forward a vote of no confidence, are in that group of 92. There are many cases and those involved in joining them. The result of the election does not lie in the hands of 225 MPs, but with the people.
The Election Commission announced that the Secretary of the Ministry of Public Security, Vyani Gunithalaka, has agreed to provide the necessary police officers for the upcoming presidential election.
This decision to provide the necessary police officers for the upcoming presidential election comes after discussions held between Gunithilaka and the Election Commission Chairman RML Ratnayaka. Yesterday, the Election Commission sent a formal letter to the President seeking a solution to the issue related to the Inspector General of Police's role in organising the election. In response, the President's Secretary instructed Secretary of the Ministry of Public Security, Vyani Gunithilaka, to coordinate the deployment of police officers to ensure election security. Accordingly, the Election Commission had informed the Secretary of the Ministry of Public Security, Vyani Gunithilaka, to be present at the Election Secretariat for talks. Today, the Secretary of the Ministry of Public Security confirmed that the President granted special permission for collaboration with the Election Commission regarding police deployment for the presidential election.
The turning point.
A group of 116 former provincial council members from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and United National Party pledged their commitment to support President Ranil Wickremesinghe's victory at the upcoming presidential election. The assurance was given during a discussion held with the President in Bathramulla earlier today.
During the event, former Chief Minister of the Western Province, Isrudeva Priya, had proposed to unite and ensure President Ranil Wickremesinghe secures an emphatic victory at the upcoming presidential election. The proposal had been seconded by SLPP Chief Organiser for Mihintale, TMR Siripala. According to the President's Media Division, 116 former Provincial Council representatives had raised their hands in support of the proposal.
අපි ඔක්කොම මුණ ගැහුනේ එකට එකතු වුණේ 2022 ජූලි මාස. අපි ඔක්කොම නිවාස නැති නිවාසීමියන්ගේ සංගමයට අයිති වුණා. එදා රටට අනාගතය.
We got together in July 2022 and at that time we fell into the Homeless Homeowners Association. Back then the people thought Sri Lanka will have no future and we won't be able to move forward. Some even quizzed me as to why I took over this government. I said I have a strong belief that it can be salvaged. We have restored normalcy in the country and are working towards moving out of bankruptcy. We cannot stop there. We need to follow the IMF agreement. Funds are disbursed based on the conditions. It has been signed into an agreement. We only have funds until January. Once the IMF signs another agreement, we will obtain more funds in January. How long will it take if we are to renegotiate this deal? Young men and women will not wait any longer. We need to provide employment opportunities swiftly, develop the country and alleviate poverty. One government will not suffice. Therefore, I plan to create 10 such governments, 9 provincial governments and 1 central government. We are here because of one particular decision. A majority of the SLPP decided to support me in 2022. If it was not done, this situation would not have arisen. I thank former President Mahinda Rajapaksa for making that decision. The provincial council election will be held after the general election. I plan to hold the election in accordance with the 1988 election model. I spoke to M.A. Sumandiran of the TNA and they too are in favour of it. We requested that female and youth representation must increase. There is another thing. A parliamentarian will be allowed to contest provincial council elections while being in parliament and enter provincial councils. That means an MP can hold that position and the post of chief minister. That freedom has also been provided. A core committee comprising the President, Prime Minister and 9 others will be established within the government. We will propose a state council. It will consist of the President, Prime Minister, party leaders in Parliament and Chief Ministers. There will be more organizations. In 2017, Chief Ministers of 7 provinces handed over a report to the Constitutional Amendment Committee. We will work based on those recommendations. Tamil parties are also in agreement. We said police powers can be discussed at the next Parliament. But for now, these points will be implemented to run the government.
යෝජනා අනුව හැම එක්කෙනාම වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්නට යනවා. අපේ ද්‍රවිඩ පක්ෂත් ඒකට එකඟයි. අපි කිව්වා පොලිස් බලතල ගැන ඊළඟ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්, පස්සේ කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ ටික අපි දැන් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරලා ආණ්ඩුවක් කරා.
The turning point.
Political representatives, including former provincial councillors, MPs and others, addressed the media following the meeting.
එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය කියන්නේ මේ හැමදාම කාලා බීලා ඉන්න මිනිසුන්ට කන්න බොන්න දෙන පක්ෂයක්. ඒ නිසා ඉතින් මිනිස්සු රැස් වුණාම කනවා බොනවා.
පොහොට්ටුවේ 90%කටත් වඩා අද මෙතන ඉන්නේ. මම හිතන්නේ දවසින් දවස අනිත් අයත් එක එක්කෙනා තීරණය කරලා මේ පැත්තට එයි. පක්ෂයක් විදියටත් අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා එහෙම තීරණයක් සමහර වෙලාවට ගන්න සිද්ධ වෙයි කියලා.
අපි ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොජ්ජන පෙරමුණට බොහොම ආදරය කරන ගෞරවය කරන පිරිසක්. මෙතනදී තියෙන්නේ පක්ෂය හැර යන එක නෙවෙයි. අපට අවශ්‍ය තියෙන්නේ පක්ෂයේ සිටගෙනම මේ පක්ෂයේ සිදුවෙන සමහර කුමන්ත්‍රණකාරී ක්‍රියාමාර්ගවලට එරෙහිව කටයුතු කරන්න. එවිට අපිට යම් තීන්දුව తీරන ගන්න වෙනවා.
මේ ආවෙලා රට බේරගත්තේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා. අපිට ඒකට කලගුණ සැලීමක් ලෙස අපි එතුමාට සහයෝගයෙන් තීරණය කරලා තිබෙනවා. ස්වාධීන අපේක්ෂය නිසා.
කවුද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට සහාය දෙන්න කියලා ඉල්ලීමක් කරේ?
අපිට සහාය දෙන්න කියලා ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඉල්ලීම කරා. සහ අපේ පක්ෂයේ බහුතරයක් ඉල්ලීම කරා එකට එක්වලා අපි සහයෝගය දෙමු කියලා.
දැන් ඔබතුමාලා ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් එක්ක ඉදිරියට යනවාද මොකද කරන්නේ?
අපි ඉතින් ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොජ්ජන පෙරමුණේ තමයි තාම.
පෙරමුණේ නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙන් දාන කෙනාට සහාය දෙන්න පුළුවන් නේද?
තාම දාලා නැහැ නේ කවුරුත් නේ.
ඒක තාම තීරණය කළා නැත්නම් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතාට සහාය දෙනවද කියලා?
සහාය දෙනවා කියලා තීරණය කළා තියෙන්නේ.
අපි කොහොමත් වාමාංශික කඳවුරේ ප්‍රගතිශීලී බලවේග වලට නායකත්වය දෙනවා. අද අපේ බලවේග අපේ සියලුම වාමාංශික කඳවුරේ ප්‍රගතිශීලී බලවේග ඒක රාශි වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ රට ගොඩ ගන්න පුළුවන් එකම නායකයා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා කියලා.
දැන් ඔබතුමාලට සහාය කාටද?
සහාය මේ දැන් දෙන කෙනාට තමයි රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා. රටේ නායකයා. රට බේරගන්න නායකයා. රට බේරගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු හිටපු නායකයා. පක්ෂේ දැන් UNP. ඉස්සර හිටිය පොදු පෙරමුණ. දැන් UNP.
තිරුකුණාමලේ නේද?
ආ තිරුකුණා.
මට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ පොදු ජන පෙරමුණට අවශ්‍ය පරදින්නද දිනන්නද කියලා. අපිට තේරුනේ පොදු ජන පෙරමුණට අවශ්‍ය මේ මැතිවරණේ පරදින්න. ඒ නිසා අපේ පාක්ෂිකය අපිට අතරමං කරන්න බෑ. ඒ නිසා ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ අති බහුතරය තීරණය කරා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට සහයෝගය දෙන්න.
ඔබතුමාලා දැන් ඉස්සරහට පොදු ජන පෙරමුණට මොන දෙයක් බැරි වෙන්නේ මේ කොහොම වැඩ කළා. කියන්නේ දැන් නාම යෝජනා ගෙනීමේ
අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. පක්ෂය අපි අයින් කරනවා නම් මහින්දානන්ද අලුත්කම කියලා රත්වත්තලා මුණගමලා ජයරත්න නැතුව පොදු ජන පෙරමුණට පුළුවන් නම් කියලා මහනුවර දේශපාලනය කරන්න කියලා. පුළුවන් නම් ඡන්ද 500,000ක් ගන්නයි කියලා කියලා.
අපි හිතනවා එතුමාට තව අවුරුදු 5ක් අරගෙන දුන්නොත් එතුමා මේ රට නැවත යථා තත්ත්වයට පත් කරයි කියලා. ඉතින් මම විශ්වාස කරන්නේ අනෙක් කිසිම නායකයෙකුට හැකියාව නැහැ කියලා. ඒ නිසා තමයි මම උදව් කරන්නේ.
The Turning Point.
Following the meeting of former provincial council members who expressed their support for the president, some were seen engaging in discussions with opposition MPs including Dr. Harsha De Silva, Thalatha Atukorala and Rishad Bathiuddin.
කොහෙටවත් ආවේ නෑ මේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඕනනම් බලා ගන්න දෙවනි තට්ටුවේ තියෙනවා NDI එකේ වැඩසටහනක් ඒකට මං ආවේ
නෑ නෑ අපි ඇහුවේ
නෑ ජනාධිපතිතුමා මං හැමදාම හම්බ වෙච්ච එක්කනේ ඉස්සරහත් හම්බෙලා තියෙනවා අදත් හම්බෙලා තියෙනවා අනාගතේදීත් හම්බ වෙනවා ඒක ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ මගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ
නෑ මොකද්ද මතේ කවුද ජයග්‍රහණය කරන්නේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා
ඒක ඡන්දෙ තිබ්බන් පස්සේ බලා ගන්න
මේ කාගේ පක්ෂෙද දැන් ඒතර කාගේ පැත්තද
අයියෝ දන්නේ නැද්ද මම සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ නියෝජනය කරන රත්නපුර දිස්ත්‍රික්කේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී
මනුෂ්‍ය මන්ත්‍රීතුමාගේ ඉල්ලීම මොනවා වේද අපි දැක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරනවා
මනුෂ්‍ය මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඕනෙක් කෙනෙක් ගහන්න දැන් මේ පැත්තේ ඉන්නවා අපේ ඌ
Ask anyone, not just MP Manusha. Here is Kanangar from Over as well as Isuru and Suni Magammana, whom I've known since childhood. Why are you only asking about Manusha? He is now handling the ministry I once did. We have much to discuss. We don't engage in politics out of hate. You spread hatred that cause division.
අපේ පක්ෂය හයි කමාන්ඩ් එක රැස් වෙනවා 6 වෙනිදා. ඒ දවසේ පක්ෂයත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරලා ජනාධිපති ඡන්දයේදී මොන තීන්දුව ගන්න කියලා.
In an X message, Dr. Harsha De Silva disclosed that he participated in NDI's House Democracy Partnership workshop on public debt management. He said that the Committee on Public Finance members engaged in discussions with the Deputy Director of the Congressional Budget Office and Assistant Secretary General of Parliament on the proposed Parliamentary Budget Office.
The Turning Point.
Minister Prasanna Ranatunga has declared his support for President Ranil Wickremesinghe in the forthcoming presidential election. In a letter addressed to the leader of the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna, Mahinda Rajapaksa, Minister Ranatunga reiterated his allegiance to the SLPP and his admiration for Mahinda Rajapaksa as his ideal leader. He clarified his choice to back Wickremesinghe is not an abandonment of his party or an alignment with the United National Party. The minister emphasized that he remains a loyal member of the SLPP and his admiration for Rajapaksa persists.
The Turning Point.
Deputy Speaker Ajit Rajapaksa has formally requested President Ranil Wickremesinghe to engage in further discussions with Mahinda Rajapaksa seeking the support of the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna. This written request was conveyed during a meeting held at the President's office. Ajit Rajapaksa emphasized that this appeal is his personal initiative. The Deputy Speaker specifically urges that the President and the Prime Minister jointly meet with Mahinda Rajapaksa either directly or through a special committee for a final round of discussions.
The Turning Point.
Nama Rajapaksa, the national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna, has announced his willingness to propose President Ranil Wickremesinghe as a candidate under the flower bud symbol should Wickremesinghe express such interest. He said this proposal will be presented at the next Politburo meeting.
It can be submitted to the next Politburo meeting. We will make a decision from the political committee. It must be clearly stated that this is not a decision made by Namal Rajapaksa or any particular group. The political board, appointed by those who made the accusations, is responsible. I am merely a member and have been made the national organizer by them.
Today, the SLPP convened at their party headquarters, where it was announced that the declaration of the candidate running under the SLPP symbol will be further delayed.
නම් කරන දේ දුරයිද?
නෑ අපේක්ෂකයා මම දැන් ලබන සතිය වෙනකොට අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි.
උදයන්ග මහත්තයා කිව්වා අද කියනවා කියලා.
ඉතින් ඔබතුමාලා අහන්නේ උදයන්ග මහත්තයාගෙන්මනේ.
තොරතුරක් එළියට දෙන්නේ.
එතුමා කියන්නේ බොරුනේ. නේද? එතුමා කටරෙන එක කියනවා. ඉතින් ඔබතුමාලා ඒක විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඉතින් ඒකට පක්ෂය මොකද්ද කරන්න?
දාන කියලා අනුන් දෙක ලිස්ට් එකක් නම් කළා. සම්මරාතුන් මුතුමා නිවේදනා උත්තර ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
අනු දෙයක් කොයිද ඉන්නේ? අනු දෙයක් ඇත්තෙත් නැහැ. බොරු ගානක් දීලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර මෙහෙ ඉන්නේ නැත් එහෙ ඉන්නවා. ආණ්ඩු පක්ෂ රැස්වීම ඇතිවිලා තියෙන්නේ.
ඒ කියන්නේ මේ රංගපෑමක්ද කරන්නේ?
ඔව් සමහර අය රංගපානවා. මේක ඉතිහාසය වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒ ඉන්නවා මෙහාට එනවා. ඒකෙනෙදි කලබල වෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ.
The Central Committee of Sri Lanka Freedom Party had met with President Ranil Wickremesinghe earlier this evening and expressed their unwavering support for his victory in the forthcoming presidential election.
This was officially announced by the President's Media Division, and the SLFP met with the President after a meeting among the party's Central Committee, Politburo and Executive Council.
A delegation of Sri Lanka Freedom Party representatives led by Nimasuripala De Silva convened with the President to deliberate on the proposal expressing their support. This move follows decisions made during meetings of the party's Central Committee, Politburo and Executive Council earlier today. The party Secretary General presented a letter from Ranil Wickremesinghe seeking support for the upcoming presidential election. During the meeting, attendees shared their perspectives on this matter.
අපි ඔබතුමාට එන වෙනදේ ගණන් ප්‍රතිමතුන්දී ශ්‍රී ලංකා විදාස් පක්ෂයේ සම්මානය ලබා දීමට තීරණය කළා.
මේ විශේෂයෙන්ම ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ දුන්න සහයෝගය මම අගය කරනවා. සියලු දෙනාටම මම ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා.
We have to consider the views of different parties along this journey of building the country. We had to hold talks with the IMF until now. For the first time, we have nationalism, left wing, centre and the right wing. We can create a national framework in the next 4 to 5 years by coming to an agreement. If there are differences, we can discuss them. I asked Leslie to speak to everyone before any labour laws are passed. We want everything to align with the 21st century, both owners and workers' committees. We cannot base it on the 20th or 19th century. New laws are required. All parties must be considerate of how we are to forge ahead. On the other hand, this is a grand unification. I believe this is the first time such a thing has happened since D.S. Senanayake and Bandaranayake got together and formed the UNP in 1946. Let's make use of it. We can take the country forward. Only we can do it. Others are still sticking to traditional politics. They only speak. Let's go to the villages and disseminate this message. The people suffered a lot. There was a massive burden. We cannot eliminate that in 2 years, but we have lessened it. Certain factions are still suffering. We must admit it. Those must be eliminated too. Let's ask the people for a mandate with that objective in mind.
අපි මේ කල්ලා තියෙන බර සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නැති කරන්න බෑ එක අවුරුදු දෙකකින්. අපි සහැල්ලු කරලා තියෙන ඒත් සමාන කොටස් වලට තාම අමාරුයි. ඒක පිළිගන්න ඕනේ. ඒවත් නැති කල්ලා තමයි ඉදිරියට යන්නේ. ඒක බලාගෙන අපි ජනතාවගේ ඒ වරම ඉල්ලමු. ඒ වැඩ කටයුතු අවසන් කරන්න.
A delegation of unemployed graduates visited the office of the opposition leader to discuss their concerns.
The opposition leader discussed the program aimed at addressing the employment problems of graduates.
මෙන්න මම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මෑත කාලේ අහපු ප්‍රශ්න ප්‍රමාණෙන් කොටසක්.
These are some of the questions I have raised in Parliament recently. Since becoming the leader of the opposition, I have consistently asked these questions. Our aim is to guarantee the income of the graduates, and it was said the unemployed graduates will be registered. The government claims that a cabinet paper was approved instructing governors to give appointments. This is completely false. They are simply making efforts to protect their positions until the 21st of September. Typically, when a cabinet paper is approved, its measures should be implemented. What has been implemented so far? Graduates are merely being asked to register at divisional secretariats. The solutions I have proposed are clear. I promise all of you very clearly and sincerely, when I make a statement, I mean it literally. According to the method I have outlined, we will provide alternative opportunities. Whether it is a government job, a private sector job or a technical field job, we will offer solutions. For those who want to become entrepreneurs, we aim to provide various options to the 50,000 unemployed graduates.
මේ වගේ options ගණනාවක් අපි රැකියා විරහිත උපාධිධාරීන් ඒ 50,000ට ලබා දෙන්න අදහස් කරනවා.
The People's Struggle Alliance presented its presidential election manifesto in Colombo. The People's Struggle Alliance released their manifesto at the Colombo Public Library with the alliance's presidential candidate Attorney-at-Law Nuwan Bopage in attendance. The manifesto, with the title translated to quote-unquote, "The People's Policy in the Hands of the People," outlines a series of commitments aimed at addressing critical issues. This policy statement includes an equal policy affirming women's rights, a policy ensuring Sri Lanka does not become a victim of geopolitical power struggles, a policy to escape IMF's death trap, a policy guaranteeing government protection for small and medium enterprises.
To all those who say we are here to split the vote, we say yes. We are here to break the vote. Not just the vote, but the entire system. We are presenting a candidate from the People's Struggle Alliance and contesting this election without fear or reservation. Through this socialist program, we will transform society. Power should belong to the people, and a constitution based on the people's needs should be created. Our current constitution has been corrupted, and in this manifesto, we promise to establish a new structure that empowers the people.
ජනතාව සම්බන්ධ කරන නව ව්‍යුහයක් අපි නිර්මාණය කරනවා කියන එකට අදාළව පොරොන්දුව අපි මේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශනයෙන් දීලා අවසానයි.
Oshal Herath, the presidential candidate of the Abhinava Nibahal Peramuna, filed a complaint with the Election Commission.
The deposit for the poll was made on the 26th. However, it came to our attention yesterday that the president summoned all members of the ruling party to the president's office for discussions requesting their support in the election. Subsequently, he made official declarations through the president's media division. The maintenance cost for the presidential secretariat and the personnel of the president's media division are covered by public tax funds. The president is not entitled to use public funds for his election campaign. He also cannot bring crowds using public funds. Therefore, I am here to formally file a complaint regarding this matter.
The power of the people.
The constant worry about clean water can be a heavy weight. For 470 families in Nagavila, that weight is no more. A new water purification system brings long-awaited relief and a healthier path forward.
Step away from the conventional art of storytelling. Get ready for the Newsfirst Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfikar Farzan.
Don't let the country go backwards.
10 teams, 23 matches. ICC Women's T20 World Cup Bangladesh 2024 coming soon.
Welcome back. Continuing in more news, Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed his strong condemnation of the assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh and stated clearly that he will never condone such actions. The president also established 3 special committees to address potential global and Iranian impacts on Sri Lanka.
Hamas's political chief Ismail Haniyeh has been assassinated in Iran's capital Tehran, according to a statement from the group that governs Gaza, which blamed Israel for his death. Haniyeh had travelled to Tehran to attend the inauguration of Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian on Tuesday. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has arranged to appoint 3 special committees as a preliminary measure to address the security and economic pressures that may affect Sri Lanka, considering the potential developments in the Middle East and globally, including the assassination of the Hamas political leader. The president elaborated on this move in Battaramulla.
අද පාන්දර තෙහෙරාන් නගරේදී හමාස් ලොක්කාව මරලා දැම්මා. ඒ ක්‍රියාව මම නම් හෙලා දකිනවා. ඒක වැරදි කරන එක. Gaza යුද්ධේ
The killing of the Hamas leader in Tehran this morning is something I strongly condemn. It was wrong and could have prevented a solution to the Gaza conflict. This action is likely to escalate problems in the Middle East again, which I do not support. As a nation, we must always uphold the right to life. This international issue has led to other challenges. If a war breaks out, what will happen to fuel prices? If any issues arise, we might need to bring back everyone in the Middle East to Sri Lanka, similar to what we faced when Kuwait was invaded in 1991. This would result in a loss of revenue for the country, making it difficult for the emerging Sri Lanka to handle such a situation. I instructed the Foreign Minister to engage with their counterparts from other countries to discuss a joint program to manage this situation. Our focus should be on these activities. Our speaker is currently in Tehran and we are working to bring him back as soon as possible. We must prepare for this situation now. To this end, a committee has been established under the leadership of the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, the Minister of Power and Energy, and the Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment. Additionally, a committee composed of officials from the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Power and Energy, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been appointed under the chairmanship of the National Security Advisor to assess the potential economic consequences. The government is taking proactive measures to address any situation that may arise.
විදේශ අමාත්‍යාංශයේ නිලධාරීන් එක පත් කරලා තියෙනවා මේකේ ඇති වෙන ආර්ථික විපාකේ මොකක්ද කියලා බලන්න කොහොමද ක්‍රියා කරන්නේ මේ ආණ්ඩුව ඕන එකකට මූණ දෙන්න දැන් ඉඳන්ම පියවර ගන්නවා.
A suspect was apprehended in the Valachena area with a cache of weapons including 2 T-56 firearms based on information provided by the Military Intelligence Division. A man was arrested at the Navaladi junction in Valachena in possession of T-56 firearm and 26 rounds of ammunition. The police also discovered a magazine of additional ammunition. Further investigation led the police to search the house of the suspect's brother, where another T-56 firearm was found hidden in a sack. Alongside the weapon, authorities recovered 30 rounds of ammunition, an ammunition holder and a sword.
මේ සැකකරුගේ නිවස තිබෙන්නේත් වාලච්චේන පොලිස් වසමේම බදුරියා නගර ප්‍රදේශයේ සැකකරුගේ නිවස පරීක්ෂාවට ලක් කරද්දී
The suspect's residence in the Baduria Nagar area in the Valachena police jurisdiction was searched, revealing 2 plastic pipes likely used to conceal the T-56 weapons underground. Additionally, binoculars and various other equipment were found. A motorcycle used to transport the T-56 firearms and 2 number plates from another motorcycle were also recovered. The suspect, identified as a 43-year-old man, has been engaging in religious studies as an imam in the Navalapitiya area. Due to the serious nature of the findings, he is being handed over to the Terrorist Investigations Division for a further investigation.
විමර්ශනයක් සිදු කිරීමට අවශ්‍ය නිසා මොහුව ත්‍රස්ත විමර්ශන කොට්ටාසය වෙත බාර දීමට පියවර ගනිමින් තිබෙනවා.
Sri Lankan law enforcement authorities apprehended 54 Chinese nationals and 1 Japanese national in the Kalpiti area on suspicion of engaging in online fraud. The suspects allegedly defrauded money through online schemes, and following their arrest, 11 suspects were presented before the Putthala Magistrates Court and subsequently remanded until the 12th. Meanwhile, the remaining members of the group were released on bail. Each had to pay 500,000 rupees.
A raid was conducted at a hotel in the Kalpiti area based on information received by the Puttalam Crimes Division. The operation carried out last night led to the arrest of 52 Chinese nationals and a Japanese woman. Among those arrested were 9 Chinese women. Following the arrests, the suspects were taken to the Norochole police station. 2 additional suspects, both Chinese nationals, were apprehended later while surveilling the police station. Authorities recovered over 10 million rupees from their possession.
A
hotel in the Kalpitiya area of Puttalam was searched based on a search warrant obtained from the magistrate's court. The arrest was made after discovering that this group of foreigners was using computers to conduct suspicious online money transactions.
During the raid, police recovered 98 mobile phones, 44 laptops and numerous SIM cards from the suspects. This operation is part of the ongoing effort to crack down on illegal activities involving foreign nationals. Similar arrests have been made in the areas such as Battaramulla and Nigambo involving foreigners, particularly Chinese nationals suspected of engaging in illicit activities.
Don't let the country go backwards.
Last month, this time, a world of stories, knowledge and music just out of reach. Sri Gunananda, a small school in rural Sri Lanka, yearning to learn. A new chapter has begun. Classrooms, once quiet, now hum with the joy of discovery, music and stories, sparking imaginations. Gamadda, for the people, by the people.
Welcome back to the news. Trust and goodwill are the factors that India seeks from Sri Lanka instead of short-term benefits and acquiring assets. Indian envoy Santosh Jha expressed these views in Colombo yesterday, attending the launch of 2 books authored by K.V. Ganesharajan.
2 books named Cases and Materials on Law of Trusts and Cases and Materials on Charitable Trusts with special reference to charitable institutions, both authored by K.V. Sri Ganesharajan, were launched in Colombo yesterday.
People ask me what really India wants of Sri Lanka, and I say just the trust and goodwill is what we seek of Sri Lanka. We are not here to, in a transactional relationship. We are not looking at making short-term benefits and acquiring assets and creating some dependencies, as some people think. The India-Sri Lanka relations have come a very long way, probably are at the very best in history, at least since our independence from colonial rule. There are many facets to it. On a broader scale, we are trying to build connectivity in all its dimensions, whether it is energy connectivity, land connectivity, whether it is digital connectivity, people-to-people connectivity that is so deep and important, perhaps the foundation of the very relationship that we have. Over a 5-year horizon, you will see billions and billions of dollars coming in the next 5 to 10 years through this relationship into Sri Lanka. The legal profession, who actually also build public opinion, we need to speak for it and drive it. Because if we remain silent, we will commit mistakes that we have done in the past, and we cannot have something really in the future to look forward to.
Chief Justice of Sri Lanka, President's Counsel Jayanta Jayasuriya, along with Justice S. Thurai Raja and President's Counsel Dr. K. Kanak Iswaran were among the dignitaries who attended the event. Cases and Materials on Law of Trusts is a comprehensive book on trusts ordinance as amended with the decided cases in Sri Lanka up to May 2024. Cases and Materials on Charitable Trusts with special reference to charitable institutions is a comprehensive book on charitable trusts with the decided cases in Sri Lanka up to May 2024 in respect of the charitable institutions.
Concept of trust is a different way of thinking by an Englishman. It's called the against the presumption. Say, for example, in legal language, with the permission of His Excellency, we always say that if we have a deed, we say that we have the owner. But trust works otherwise. That's against the presumption. That's an interesting thing. I also love, because I want to do something which is against the presumptions and see.
The development of law of trusts and law of charitable trusts in England and India are also discussed in these 2 books respectively.
The Korean Exim Bank is set to resume official development assistance concessional loan projects in Sri Lanka.
The Export-Import Bank of Korea has officially notified Sri Lanka's Ministry of Finance of its decision to resume EDCF official development assistance concessional loan projects in Sri Lanka. The resumption comes after the official creditor committee and Sri Lanka finalized a memorandum of understanding on the 26th of June 2024. This decision includes resuming disbursements, signing loan agreements and moving forward with the bidding process for all ongoing Economic Development Cooperation Fund projects in Sri Lanka. This resumption will facilitate the restart of disbursements for construction projects already underway, including the Ruanwala water supply project. Earlier, the government of Japan announced its decision of resuming disbursement for the Japan-funded project portfolio of the country. With this landmark decision, the suspended projects, including the Bandaranaike International Airport Development Project, utility projects, health sector improvement projects, rural development projects, will be resurrected, paving the way for the economic and social improvement of the country.
The seventh round of bilateral political consultations between Sri Lanka and Pakistan was successfully concluded at the Pakistani Foreign Ministry in Islamabad. The consultations were held after a gap of over 3 years, with the sixth round being held virtually in December 2020.
The seventh round of bilateral political consultations between Sri Lanka and Pakistan, which comprehensively reviewed the current status of the relations between Sri Lanka and Pakistan, were co-chaired by Foreign Secretary Aruni Vijayawardena and the Foreign Secretary of Pakistan Muhammad Cyrus Sajjad Qazi. The areas of cooperation that were discussed at the meeting included economy and trade, defence and security, education, culture, media and sports, consular matters, agriculture as well as technology. The two sides also discussed their cooperation at multilateral and regional fora, and the Sri Lanka delegation particularly thanked Pakistan for the steadfast support that it has been extending to Sri Lanka over the years at multilateral fora. Pakistan delegation commended the leadership and the people of Sri Lanka in stabilizing the debt crisis and stated that Pakistan could learn from Sri Lanka's experience. The next round of Sri Lanka-Pakistan bilateral political consultations will be held in Colombo at a mutually agreed date.
The University of Peradeniya hosted the Peradeniya Medical School Annual Research Conference yesterday.
Peradeniya Medical School Annual Research Conference was at the University of Peradeniya. The aim of the conference was to emphasize the crucial role of medical education and research in enhancing healthcare delivery and improving public health importance of continuous learning and innovation in the medical field. The event also saw achievements and contributions of researchers, bringing to light the vital role of medical education in shaping the future of healthcare in Sri Lanka.
The 500th meeting of the Senate of the University of Colombo was held yesterday.
The 500th meeting of the Senate of the University of Colombo was held in Colombo. All the academic decisions of the university are taken at a Senate meeting.
At the very beginning, we started a Senate with the appointment of Professor Stanley Vijayasundar as the first Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo. And during last 500 Senate meetings, we have continuously developed our improvements and academic standards. So as a result, the University of Colombo achieved the within the 1,000 universities in the world. So we believe that this is a remarkable achievement of the University of Colombo.
Professor G.L. Pires, the head of Department of Law in 1979, who was one of the participants of the first ever Senate meeting, was facilitated at the meeting today.
Growing Leaders and the Unveiling of the Grow Leaders Framework, a book authored by Vidusha Nathavitharana, was launched in Colombo today.
Vidusha Nathavitharana's much anticipated book, Growing Leaders, was officially unveiled in Colombo this evening. The launch drew a diverse crowd including the author's family, close friends, influential corporate figures and keen book enthusiasts. The event followed with an inspiring panel discussion, lively discussions and a sense of anticipation for the book's impact.
10 teams, 23 matches. ICC Women's T20 World Cup Bangladesh 2024 coming soon.
India beat Sri Lanka in the Super Over in what turned out to be a thrilling end to a 3-match T20 series between the two teams in Pallekele.
Shamidhu Wickramasinghe, a 21-year-old fast bowler, made his international debut in a thrilling match held at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium. Batting first, India posted a total of 137 runs for 9 wickets in their allotted 20 overs. In response, Sri Lanka also scored 137 runs, losing 8 wickets in their 20 overs, leading to a tie. A super over was held to determine the winner. Sri Lanka, batting first, managed to score only 2 runs for the loss of 2 wickets. India, needing just 3 runs for victory, secured victory on the first ball of the super over.
Celebrate with another victory and take the series 3-0.
I admit that my first tournament as captain was a failure. I apologize for our performance. We disappointed our fans once again. As captain, I promise to improve in the upcoming matches and tournaments. We need to better utilize our players and perform at a higher level. We've shown that we need significant improvement to compete with top-tier teams. Moving forward, we must practice harder and strengthen our mental game. It is a challenging task, but if we aim to progress at this level, we need to work much harder for our country.
හරි අමාරු වැඩක් ඒක. ඉතින් මේ ලෙවල් එකේ අපි ඉස්සරහට ක්‍රීඩා කරනවා නම් අපිට අට වෙනුවෙන් තව මැච් දිනන්න නම් තව ගොඩක් අපි වැඩ කරන්න වෙනවා.
What is being said on the political stage as the presidential elections looms?
Up next is a special segment named Before the Ballot, a compilation of conflicting views that have been expressed in the lead up to the election.
And with that, we wrap up news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.
Before the Ballot. මට මතක් වෙන්නේ මෙතනදී අර නයා නටවන්න ගියා.
I recall the story of the snake charmer and his snake. The snake tried to charm the crowd without the charmer, and everyone knows what happened to the snake. Similarly, after winning elections because of the Rajapaksas, if some members of the SLPP believe they can engage in politics without the Rajapaksas, the same fate will befall them.
අහිකුන්ටකයා නැතිව නටන්න ගිය නයාට සිදු වුණු දේ තමයි ඒ උදේට සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. Before the Ballot.
ඉදිරියේදී බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් මොකද හුඟක් කට්ටිය කෑ ගැහුවට අවසානයේ ඡන්දේ ගන්න.
We'll see in the future, when the votes are counted, if the SLPP faced its worst defeat or if it was a blessing in disguise. We will field a candidate that has a mechanism that extends beyond the party mechanism. After the candidate is announced, we can show how we will achieve victory.
ත්‍රිනේ හරහා කොහොමද මේ පක්ෂ යාන්ත්‍රණයත් එතුමාගේ තියෙන යාන්ත්‍රණත් එක්ක අපි මේ ජයග්‍රහණය කරන්න කියලා ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න.
Before the Ballot.
Namal said they don't want to be called Ranil Rajapaksa hereafter. The Rajapaksas say they left the Ranil Rajapaksa partnership, but those who left with Ranil say they left the Rajapaksas and joined Ranil. They may have been under the impression that Ranil Rajapaksa was included in the birth certificate. That is not the case. Ranil Wickremesinghe represented the Rajapaksa politics and protected the Rajapaksas. But the people of this country will never do that again.
Before the Ballot.
You can't develop a country by boasting. You may have dreams, but you need to be well grounded. Instead of making pointless claims, it is crucial that we show how it is done. We want success for the people, not for a family, party or other group. We have said it before and we will say it again.
Before the Ballot.
134 SLPP MPs appointed Ranil Wickremesinghe as president through parliament. After 6 to 7 months, the SLPP was destroyed. The remaining SLPP members and MPs have been unable to decide on whether or not a candidate will be fielded from the SLPP.
Before the Ballot.
පොදුජන එක්සත් පෙරමුණේ හිටපු ඩලස් අලහප් පෙරුම
When Dallas Alhap Peruma of the Podujana Eksat Perumuna joined Sajith Premadasa for the presidential election, the others who left with Dallas to the SJB are not thieves. When the group including GL Piris and Nalaka Godaheva joined the SJB, they are not thieves either. But when the Podujana Eksat Perumuna group supports Ranil Wickremesinghe, they are called thieves.
සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමාගේ කණ්ඩායමේ තියෙන.
Before the Ballot.
The entire system has started to rot and is on the brink of collapse. Independent commissions were established to protect the system, and the Constitutional Council appoints members to them. The ruling class has no idea what the Constitutional Council is. In one instance, Ranil Wickremesinghe said the Constitutional Council is part of the legislature, and later says it is part of the executive. Those who taught us lessons about democracy are unable to determine which one the Constitutional Council falls under. They make various statements for their benefit. This is the state of the political policies of the ruling party.